Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformations. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Welcome, transformation listeners. Man, do I have a guest that you need to listen to today. Tim Rhode, thank you so much for being here, brother.
Hey, it's my pleasure, Sean. I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to have some fun with your listeners.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to grab life big with Tim Rhode today. Here's a little bit about Tim Rhode. Tim is a true visionary and serial entrepreneur, a former #1 real estate professional in his market who has sold over 2,500 homes in 18 years in Manteca, California, as well as he is the founder of the One Life Fully Lived and GoBundance. In this episode, Tim will take us through his journey from bagging groceries to real estate sales, investing, and founding 2 organizations that are helping people live epic lives. We will discuss his unique, fun approach to branding and marketing in real estate, why he kept his expenses low even while his income went up exponentially, his transition to real estate investing, the story behind developing One Life Fully Lived conferences, his passion to make self-development tools and resources more freely available, the founding of GoBundance, and the decision to keep it a men's organization. He's a great example of someone with a genuine heart to help people be more successful. If you want to design a life you really want to live, this episode is for you. Tim Rhode comes from a very humble background, growing up in a blue-collar family in a blue-collar town. Tim barely graduated high school and never attended college. A natural hustler and entrepreneur, once he found real estate, he achieved massive success and retired at 40. Now he runs a nonprofit called the One Life Fully Lived organization that helps others do the same, and he is the founder of GoBundance, the tribe for healthy, wealthy, generous men who choose to live epic lives. Today, Tim is a legendary backcountry skier and hiker. He loves spending time with friends and family, making a difference in the world, and as he says, he's getting the goods in the woods. Dude, that is an amazing life that you've had so far, man.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds fun. I want to be that dude.
No, like I read this, I'm like, how do I become that? Like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why now? Like, why did you decide to do what you do now? Like, you found One Life Fully Lived, right? You were in real estate investing. And so take us through it, man. Why did you decide to do what you do?
Well, it all started a long time ago, actually. I'm 57 years old. I'm a gray hair. And got off to a late start in life. I was that kid in the back of your class, probably not paying much attention, might have chucked a spitwad at you or something, looking out the window at the mountains and just imagining I'm anywhere but sitting in that class listening to any teacher drone on, because candidly, I really didn't want to hear what they had to say. So I just didn't pay much attention early on, so I got off to a late start in life. And at 25, I found myself part-time grocery clerk painting addresses on people's curbs to afford diapers for my 2 small kids because of, candidly, the bad choices I made younger. So that's why I have such a heart for the little guy. And then fortunately, Sean, I was able to find my niche selling real estate, and I did really good from the start. I found my niche around 25. And the reason we started One Life Fully Lived and GoBundance is to kind of help people find themselves faster, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us right now, like what GoBundance is, a tribe of healthy, wealthy men, but really, like, take us inside real quick. Kind of like what was the foundation of it? Like why start it?
Well, so GoBundance is so let me kind of explain the whole thing for your listeners that don't know us.
Sure.
If you look at levels of mastery, we start off in life and we're unconsciously incompetent. We don't know anything, and we don't know that we don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
If you're wise enough, you look up at some point and go, hey, I don't know anything. And then you start to get curious, and you become so you start off unconsciously incompetent. If you're smart, if you're wise, you become conscious that you're incompetent, and then you reach a little level of mastery. You're consciously competent, and if you stick to it and you keep learning and you master things, you become unconsciously competent. Think of when you drive a car. You're unconsciously competent. You don't even think about turning on that left turn blinker, but you do it. So GoBundance is a group that's living at that mastery level where, as you said, the tribe for healthy, wealthy, generous men who choose to lead epic lives. And so we're living the community, the ecosystem I exist in. There's people on every level of that mastery trying to get places in the things that matter to them most. So if GoBundance is a community of mastery, One Life Fully Lived is a community seeking to get there. One Life is a nonprofit 501c3 I started in 2011 because we found too many people were kind of just going through the motions, kind of living, not found their purpose and just existing, if you will, and that just simply wasn't okay with them. So we had a conference in my little town of Portola, California. There were 92 people there, and the legendary Chris Lockhead was our keynote speaker. And he said he was super strong, and he was effective, and we had breakout sessions, and Mike and Lindsay McCarthy were there, and my daughter Sarah and her husband CJ, a lot of people who are still with us. And so from that little 92 people nucleus, it just grew slowly, organically. One Lifers that are working on their game, and along the way, we created the One Life teachings, which are, who am I at my core? Key first question. If you're listening to this,
absolutely,
ask yourself that question. Who am I at my core, no matter where you are in life? Have your kids run that by your kids. Help them figure out. And what I mean by that is, do I like to be around people? Do I want to be by myself? Do I like to be indoors, outdoors? Do I like to work with my hands, my head, my heart? What is it that turns me on? What don't I like? And think of all the people that never asked that question at 18, 20, 24, and are now 48, 52, 56, and just living and just having to be in positions that don't suit them. So our teachings are, who am I at my core? What's my dream for my future? What's my written plan? How am I going to fund it? And how am I going to be healthy enough to pull off this magnificent life that I'm supposed to live? So GoBundance is a mastery level. One Life Fully Lived is GoBundance and all of our other friends helping others to get there. And if you go to onelifefullylive.org, you can learn more about that, or go to GoBundance.com and learn more about that.
Perfect. Love it. And the My One Life roadmap, I mean, literally like revolutionized what I was doing. Like, I wasn't stuck per se, but I felt like I had shiny object syndrome. I'm not sure you ever get that, Tim, right? I mean, right?
Yeah.
So
ask Brian.
So
Rose
shiny object syndrome.
Tim ever gets
yeah. Right. So I'm sitting. I'm like, man, I got to do all this stuff, and my priorities were kind of like all over the place. I knew where I wanted to go. I didn't know how I was going to fund it. I didn't know what my financial offense and defense was. That was so much missing. I didn't even realize that was missing. I mean, when you're ignorant, you just don't know. And then when you stumble upon something or someone helps you, says, dude, check this out, and you see the transformation that comes from that, man, that's a powerful thing. And that roadmap is, I mean, it's going to revolutionize people's lives. Like, man, it is an amazing, amazing course to go through. And you get to hang out with awesome freaking people, So tell me who you were.
Yep.
prior to like, who was Tim Rhode really, prior to all this?
Anybody that's known me a long time knows I'm not much different than what I was then. I'm just a country boy that likes to get the goods in the woods, but I've always been purposeful and on point. Whatever I've ever wanted to do, I've first of all made sure I want to do it, and there's that shiny object syndrome, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things, especially when you're talented, so many doors open up and so many different opportunities. It's hard to focus on what you most want to do. And my good friend Byron McBroom, good friend and an accountant, Byron McBroom will say it's hard enough to roll one wheelbarrow up a hill. How do you roll 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Think about that. So
yeah,
that's where But I don't think I've changed much. I think the one thing that I have is financial freedom for some time now to do the things I want to do. As soon as this call is over, I told Sean my skis are parked in my driveway. It's the endless winter of 2017 in Northern California. I got my ski boots next to my skis. I like to climb mountains and ski them. I am literally going to go climb a mountain, get it twice, and be home for dinner. And that's a life by design, and I'm very fortunate. In one life, we say, dream it, plan it, live it. What's your it? My it is getting the goods in the woods. I love to be out in the boonies. It's where I thrive. It's where my mind comes alive. So by the choices I made, and if you remember, I said at 25, I was a grocery clerk that couldn't afford diapers for my kids. Okay, part-time grocery clerk.
Yeah.
I retired at 40, financially free with enough money that I have passive income coming in from rentals and notes and stuff, that piece of my life is covered, and it's now kind of on automatic pilot. I just invest in other people's projects. I water ski in their wake. I find talented people who know what they're doing, let them do all the work so I can go out and get the goods in the woods, make a difference in the world the way I want to, be there for my family, and take care of my health. Those are the things I want to do. So I have that piece like on automatic pilot now, which is very fortunate. And if you can get there, amen. And you want to know how you get there, Sean?
Absolutely.
Your freaking ABC. Yeah. Hey, Sean, what's the ABCs? You went through the roadmap.
Now you're putting me on the spot, man.
On the financial ABC.
Oh, man, you're putting me on the spot right now.
No worries, dude. A is what's coming in every month from all sources.
That's what it was.
B,
what's coming in, what's coming out.
This is the piece most missed. What's it cost me to live a month? And C, what's left to invest. Yeah, and let me tell you something. I coached a couple of people. I want to let you know examples of not knowing ABCs. First of all, when I was a grocery clerk, I was making $30,000 a year. I was spending, let's say, $25,000. I got into real estate. I made $70,000, $120,000, $180,000, $310,000. My income went up. My expenses only went up like from $25,000 to $30,000 to $35,000. Maybe it topped out at $60,000, but I way lived within my means, and I aggressively invested the difference. And it's not what you make, but what you do with what you make that will make a difference in the long run. And the backbone of the One Life Fully Lived roadmap is the financial piece. There's so many millennials, they want to change the world. They have a huge heart. You can't change the world if you're sitting in mama's basement playing video games. You gotta work. Yeah, you gotta work hard. You've got to lifelong learn how to live within your means, invest wisely, then you get to save the world,
I'm telling you, man, that changed everything because I always, like, everybody knows like what's coming in. I mean, I really think that everybody's got a pretty good handle on that because money, how much do I have? But a lot of people don't track the expenses, whether through a budget or, they're not tracking investments like they should. And that's kind of where I was. I'm like, man, I didn't realize that we spend a lot of money. Like my wife will spend a lot of money on like Starbucks. And I was buying, because at the time I was building a 66 Mustang. I kind of still am, but I've kind of slowed down. because I've really gotten things in check. But I was blowing money on car parts, building this car. I mean, I was just, I got an extra buck. Let me go buy this, door lock or, part of this, car part that I need or whatever. And I really had to rein it in. And after that, I was like, wow, how much money are we saving now? I mean, just knowing how much you spend will shock you, right?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and the word is leakage. What's your leakage? Yeah. Where are you weak? And it's really good to increase your income. And the tribes and the ecosystems I exist in, we believe in horizontal income, which is many paychecks coming in. I want a bigger paycheck. Hey, boss, give me a paycheck. What you need to do is increase your skill set to where you have more than one income coming in, and find a way to have multiple income. And then that's offense. Defense is living within your means. And what we say in One Life is defense wins championships. It's knowing what's going out and what's your leakage and fixing it, and then learning how to invest wisely so you get somewhere. There's a line back from when I was like 25, 30. I tell this to people that are 25, 30. When you're gray like me, I'm 57, you're either going to hug yourself or curse yourself for the financial and health decisions you make when you're young. When you're gray, you're either going to hug yourself or curse yourself for the financial and health decisions you make when you're young. And anybody listening to this that's older may be shaking their head, I got it.
So, I like that because people do things that they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll do whatever they want to do, but sometimes they don't do the things necessary. Like after going through the One Life Fully Lived conference last May in Westchester, I went home and reevaluated everything, and this is prior to, the One Life roadmap. I went at home and I reevaluated, and I took, probably 4 pages of notes, and John Vroman was there, and Rock Thomas was the second day, and all Juliana Ray and all these amazing speakers that were there. I'm taking notes, and even I was speaking, and I was learning so much from everybody else. I reevaluated things, and I said, you know what? It's time to make hard decisions. And my wife and I went around the house. It was like, let's figure out what we don't need and just sell it. Like literally, we haven't touched this in like 4 months. Let's just sell it. Different, like she rehabs furniture and whatnot. Let's get these. Let's fund these projects. Let's get them going, sell them, and then let's figure out what we don't need inside this house, and just sell it. And so we did. And sometimes you just got to sell debt. Like if you have a $40,000 car that you can barely pay for, sometimes you got to suck it up and just sell the debt in order for you to have financial freedom. Because I learned from Bob Wells that you may be quote unquote rich, which everybody has a different definition of what that means. But just because you're rich doesn't mean that you need a brand new car with a brand new car payment. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's so true. And by the way, you crushed the conference then. Your session was packed and great reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, looking back right now, from 25 to 30 to 35, you're retiring at 40, what do you think was your transformation? You said you're kind of the same person, and I truly believe that. But what do you think was your transformation, and what got you to this point?
Well, knowledge. My transformation was I was a late starter in high school, never went to college, and the reason is I couldn't sit there and learn something that doesn't attain to me, whatever that word is. It pertained to me.
Yep.
The periodic tables, the French Revolution. It's good knowledge, it's stuff to know, but it just doesn't. It's not something I can take, implement, and go to work on. And what I did was I mastered how to list and sell a ton of real estate. I wanted to learn how to sell real estate, so I got out of my areas and I went and networked with others doing what I was doing. I wanted to learn all about investing, so I read a lot of great books, listened to CDs. Look at all the podcasts that are out there and YouTube videos. You can get a master's in life for nothing today. What an incredible world. They didn't have all of this, 25 years ago, but that was I would say that's the answer is I spent about $150,000 on my continuing education, and I think I got a multi-million-dollar education that I feel like I know a lot about a lot, if that makes sense.
That's awesome.
And,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And your continuing education doesn't necessarily. Yeah.
I was just going to say, Sean, I know a lot about the things that matter in the worlds of what I'm trying to do, and anything else that's abstract, I really don't have much interest because I just want to hyper focus on the things that I can make a difference with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to kind of say the same thing. Like, just because, you spent that much money, you can get that, outside of college too. Like I feel like you don't have to be confined to the walls of a university to learn experience in life. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, there's tons of books out there. I mean, when I was growing up, we had like the Dewey Decimal System, and we had, Encyclopedia Britannicas. People would come to your house and, try to sell you, like $500 worth of encyclopedias. You know what I mean? With the world of Google now, you literally can learn anything that you want to learn if you really want to learn it bad enough.
Yeah, and you really can. There's tons of education. By the way, if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a chemist, a pharmacist, go to college, get a 4-year. But I challenge you parents out there who are pushing all of your kids to do the exact same thing. Some of them should learn a trade. Some of them should just get a job, and some should be entrepreneurs. That's something that's not being taught today. And look where all the opportunity in this world is. It's all digital. It's all online, and they're still teaching to an old antiquated system. And think of it, parents. Think of your kids. You know how everyone's different. Me getting a 4-year degree is like a fish climbing a ladder. It simply isn't going to happen. So I think that's part of the change we want to be a part of is lifelong education and helping people figure out who they are, what's their dream, and set their learning based on that. And by the way, it's always changing. What you want to learn at 20 is way different than what you're going to want to learn at 47. So keep learning.
Well said. Yeah, always keep learning. You don't, like I said, man, you don't have to be confined. Your education doesn't stop after, an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. You're always learning, because if we're not growing, then we're dying. And we talk a lot about that at One Life, man. I mean, there's so many books with Hal Elrod and his Miracle Morning community, and Chris Lockhead's Play Bigger book, and John Vroman's book that's coming out. I mean, there's like all of these like heavy hitters are coming out with this stuff, and they're later in life.
I got a heavy hitter.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's that?
Talk about heavy hitter. Jeff Hoffman, the billionaire founder of Priceline, is headlining our Philly conference, and my whole team just read his book Scale. It's incredible, and we're actually having the whole GoBundance tribe going to read it together. But it's that is such a great book, and boy, if you're not doing anything June 3rd and 4th, Jeff Hoffman is probably worth $1,000 ticket, and our ticket with a dinner is $250, and 40 other Sean Douglases and Neil Godfreys and John Vromans and Jen Groovers and Mike and Lindsay. Yeah, it's just a incredible event. And Sean, one thing that's changed is we've really expanded the kids piece of this. It's called One Life Next Gen now. Yeah, and Jenna, who wrote the roadmap, is working her butt off on making she's going to run that kids room. And you can only imagine that. Yeah, and it's going to be very entrepreneurial in nature. We just want to help train the next generation to be free thinkers, to be so good stuff.
That's awesome. So we're still kind of looking back, right? What do you think was the best part about your transformation?
I would say I'm going to go with what Tina would tell you, and that's just in the last few years is a spiritual awakening. I've always been how can I put this? Well, first of all, let me just be vulnerable and transparent the way we are in the One Life community. I didn't grow up in a Christian household. Dad was I think he was agnostic. He really didn't talk much about it, but he talked about we'd drive by the church and he'd say, "There's the crazies," and that's what I grew up in. So when any time there was any kind of a time I needed prayer to ask, when I was younger, I felt like I didn't deserve it because I didn't know if I believed, I didn't know what. So
right.
I've hired a spirit coach a couple of years ago because I saw my good friend Mike McCarthy becoming much more heart-centered. So I hired a lady named Janai Lane, and she teaches a course called Spirit Led Instead, and she's been my coach for the last year. And I've always been, you can tell, focused, on point. That's a very male energy. That's a very in your head, get stuff done. She's helping me become a better heart-centered leader. I've always cared. I've always had a big heart. Anybody who knows me, I've always been a nice guy, if you will.
Absolutely.
But I didn't always come off as what's the word I'm looking for? Compassion. Yeah.
Like all feely, like all about people's feelings or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but there's something to be said for what I've learned is when you forgive yourself and you love yourself and have a transformation there, it affects the relationships you have with others. You're much more compassionate, and that's something I've really worked on, and I feel really good about that. And I've always spent a lot of time out in the boonies, close to nature. I'll just be on a hike and once again being vulnerable. I'll just start crying. Life's so beautiful. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so blessed that I got my purpose. Things are great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and but I just feel a closer connection to Source and a greater understanding. I'd like to think of what it's all about and what my role in the big picture is.
Absolutely. One thing I love about you, Tim, is your appreciation for beauty and excellence in every capacity of those two words. You know, like you can sit at a mountaintop and just appreciate what has been created. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way that the hills come together, you know, through all the seasons, you know, and then just how everything kind of within nature like interlocks, and then the way people are. You know, you see the beauty in people, you know, inside as well as outside, and you have a way of bringing it out of people too. So, man, I commend you for that, because since I have known you, and this is not necessarily a plug for you, but I will tell you that since I have known you, man, I have stepped my game up and was like, dude, whatever this guy's got, man, I got to get it. Like, it's contagious, bro.
Bless your heart.
You know, so.
That makes me feel really good, because that's you know, Socrates said, "Who you are speaks so loudly I can barely hear what you're saying." And the cool part about all of this is I know that, Sean. I know people are watching, and let me tell you a quick story in my past. I was at a real estate conference, and there was a real estate guru who was talking about his wife and his kids and how much he loved them. And that night we came out of it was called Costa's, the bar down in Palm Desert, and he walked out with a young lady with his hand on her butt, and I was just floored, and I wanted to go slug him, and it was like he gut punched me, and I'm, you know, God puts people in front of you for a reason, because I was furious. And I know people are watching me. So, and I also know today's a Google world. People can just Google you. you know what you're doing is being watched, and we're all your life is either an example or a warning to others, and I want to be a good example. So
I think you are. Definitely, I think you are. So with that said, this is a great segue, man. So what was the worst part about your whole transformation?
Going through a divorce. I was.
Oh wow.
I was a grocery clerk, and my ex and I got married very young. We married the wrong people. I would have stayed with her forever. We had 2 small kids together, and bless her heart, she had the, you know, wisdom to say this. Come on, dude, we're not supposed to be together. And
right.
and what's funny, here we are, 30 years later. Her husband, my wife, and I just went and saw The Pretenders and Stevie Nicks together. We're great friends. She lives over in Reno. All my kids live there. Yeah. My daughter texted us. I'm so proud. We're out for dinner and then went to the conference. And so let's look at this. My greatest tragedy, and I told her dad I'd take care of your daughter. And all the stories said, and they lived happily ever after. And we weren't happy. You know,
right.
But we took that and we had the class that I never talked bad about her to the kids. She never talked bad about me to the kids. We never, you know, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, that sounds fun. Or you take them. It was just, we just kind of worked together and here we are 30 years later, and I love her like a sister, and we talk all the time. So
wow.
Yeah, but that was my
dude. Talk about being an example. How many bitter divorces have we ever seen? Good Lord.
Yeah.
Talk about being an example.
Well, I sold 2,500 homes, and I'll bet 250 of them were bitter divorces. And I saw examples of what not to be, candidly, by a lot of weak men. That when their ladies stepped in, like when Kim stepped up and said, "I don't love you anymore." It was really, really hard, but I love my kids, and that was much more important than my selfish pain. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is a live show, so if you want to call in and ask Tim a question, the call-in number is 657-383-1109. Again, it's 657-383-1109. So you said something earlier. You said that, you know, God puts people in our paths or whatever for a reason, for a season, whatever. So let me ask you this. Who has been your biggest influencer?
My biggest influencer. Oh goodness, there's been many. I would say Tina, my wife, is just huge, just calming influence. My parents, I think my parents gave me a lot of depth. And then I want to give a shout out to a guy named Dr. Fred Gross, Grosse. I've gone to Jim Rohn. I went through whole of Tony Robbins, and did a lot of different trainers. But I spent a year with Dr. Fred Gross, Grosse. He wrote a book and a tape series called The Black Belt of the Mind. And it's a precursor for One Life Fully Lived, GoBundance. Pat Hyben and David Osborne also went through his teachings. And Google Dr. Fred Gross and get his work, Black Belt of the Mind. Very, very good stuff.
I'm writing that down. Black Belt of the Mind. That's what a great title. Like I think
Dr. Fred.
we know a guy named Sam Weger. I wonder if Sam Weger's ever.
So let me give you 2 quick things that he talked about. Number one is be where you are. How many people are at work and thinking about what's going on at home? How many people are at home thinking about what's going on at work? He had switching channels. So he had, channel 13 is the warrior channel. Channel 37 is the family channel. So he had me trained. When I hit the garage door opener, boom, I'm on the family channel. Just good stuff like that. And I could go on there. Say he taught dollar productive hours, mooring lines, just all these concepts he had that are just brilliant, that are all about, creating a life by design. So.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to look that up. That's a great resource. So you said that Tina was your biggest influencer. Would you consider her one of your biggest supporters too?
Yeah, I definitely would. She's got my back. She's always been there for me. And you know why I kind of went, yeah. I wanted to tell you something really interesting. So a couple years ago, she she's helped me start One Life Fully Lived. And if anybody listens to this, you can tell whatever I get into. Can you imagine working side by side with me on stuff? I just don't understand 3 words. It's not done. Those just don't, I'm a machine. Whatever I say I'm going to do, I'm going to get done. So it's
yes, you do.
Okay? Yeah. So Tina's helping me with all these conferences. The first one was like she, Rocha, and I, and then we kind of built our team, but we're always too few of us trying to do too much. She's working 14, 18-hour days right before the conferences to get them done. And we get done with the Philly conference, and she calls me to the side. She says, honey, we need to talk. I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. But here's what was her line. I raised Andy. I raised you. Now it's my turn. I want to go. She wants to. She wanted to learn energy medicine, and she did. And it was real. She just got a certificate from Eden Energy Medicine online. And this is her new thing. So when you asked, does she support you? And I kind of chuckled. Heck yes, she supports me. She's got my back. She's there. But she's also in her 50s doing her thing now, and I support her. So
that's awesome. Who else has been one of your biggest supporters?
I would say the guys in GoBundance, the other elders.
I'll say the 3 amigos, right?
Yeah. David, Pat, and McCarthy's just become a huge supporter of One Life. They're all just people that know what we're doing and love what we do. The One Life community has been incredible supporters.
Oh, yeah.
I think people have seen my heart for what we're trying to do and want to help us make a dent in history.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm in it, man. I'm supporting you every step of the way. And I'm bringing at least 3 or 4 other people. 2 of them have already bought the tickets, and I'm waiting on the other guy. So I'm bringing like 3 or 4 dudes with me, man, to the June conference, and I'm going to introduce them to this crazy life that you can design. You know what I mean? If you want it bad enough. So anybody that's listening, June 3rd and 4th, Temple University, man, you got to go on onelifefullylived.org, and the 1 is the number 1, onelifefullylived.org. And get your tickets now because they're not going to last. So I got a question. Do you feel like your transformation is complete?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah, no. I believe in multiple incarnations in life. So I've been a happy kid, frustrated teen, lovable loser, rock star realtor, investing king, backcountry wizard, backcountry billionaire because I spent 1 billion hours in the backcountry, and then now I'm community leader with One Life and stuff. So those are the chapters of the book so far. I would say it's funny. I was talking to Tina last night. I said sometime between 5 to 10 years, I'm going to go. All right, kids, I did my part. You got this. And I'll just kind of, do cameos from there. So
check in from time to time.
Yeah. Yep. Don't know what it'll look like. Don't know when it'll happen, but I know I'm going to. I was selling real estate, listing 15 to 20 homes a month, and at 40, I was on a trip in Belize and looked up and said, I just don't want to do this anymore. And boom, went back and transferred and referred every listing from then on and just invested. And then I didn't want to flip homes anymore and wanted to move to the mountains and go ski a ton, So, yeah, I love,
When you were a real estate investor and seller and all, did you have any like special marketing, or did you have any like special taglines or something?
Sorry, Sean. So I was pretty crazy when I sold real estate. We always believed we take our clients' needs very serious. We take everything we do very serious, but we don't take ourselves serious. So my slogan was call Tim Rhode and start packing. and I had a lot of fun with it. We'd do stuff like I bungee jumped with a suitcase and a suit and a briefcase, and said, "I'd jump at the chance to go to work for you," and just had a lot of fun with our marketing. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta love what you do and do what you love, man, and like the creativity just flows, right?
Yeah, it flowed. So yeah, we
That's
had a blast
awesome.
with that, and we pretty much owned the town. I did a pretty good market share there while I was selling.
That's amazing. So you talked about designing your life and you're not sure where it's going to end up or what you got going, what that's going to look like. But where do you think you're headed now? I mean, you got. So first of all, in May, you're doing a 1-day fully lived with Will Little, which is I'm going to be there. It's going to be amazing. Let's talk about that for a second. What's that look like?
Yeah, if you can, try to bring some young people you'd love to see get turned on to a better way of life. So
Sure.
We started with the conferences, and then we built the online community, and then we wrote the My One Life roadmap for adults out in the world. And Lori, Juan, and Jenna have been working on a version for high school kids, middle school kids, and we're having our first 1-day fully lived experience in Philly, also at Temple University. It's on May 5th. It's for young people 12 to 21, but really it's for people of all walks of life, all ages. But we're centering it around those ages. And then we're going to combine music, movement, and teaching the One Life materials. We have like rappers and DJs and Will Little's going to do street poetry. So we're going to have it very, very culturally relevant and want to make a fun day where the young people just get fired up and see role models of people that are living their one life fully lived. So I'm glad you're coming, Sean. We want people there from the community for them to see what's going on. And then, Sean, I don't know if you knew this, but we've actually made it into a 3-day, the One Life Circus comes to town, and this is going to be the model going forward. Day one, of course I got to anything I do, I can't just do it. We got to just do it and then plus and plus and plus. So
right?
Day one is that
circus in the word.
Yeah.
the One Life Circus.
Yeah. So day one, we're teaching the kids. Day two is a fundraiser for One Life called Achieve Financial Freedom so you can help your favorite charity make a dent in history. We like short titles.
Wow.
And that's featuring Jeff Hoffman. I'm gonna be there for 2 hours teaching people how to. This is one of the best entrepreneurial minds in the world. He started 9 companies, and one of them, Priceline, was the fastest ever to 10 billion market cap in the history of the world. His book Scale is incredible. So we're having our friends that are on their way and well on their way. Gonna come to that day. We also have an investing panel and some other things to help people really put the oxygen mask on them so they can help us raise money for One Life going forward. So that's
wow.
Day 2, and then Day 3. We're running the Broad Street 10-mile run.
Yep.
And in Philly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that.
So anyway,
a weekend of amazingness.
Yeah, from the 5th to the 7th. If you're listening to this and this speaks to your heart, please come up and help us. If you work with a group of kids, you want to be exposed to what we're doing. We have a bunch of young entrepreneurs coming to this, including, as an example, there's a lady named Ilan Bomani. Her tagline is, "Fire your boss and hire your kids." and she's also bringing her kids to the One Life Next Gen, and she's bringing her young 17 and 12-year-old entrepreneurs. They got like 8 different businesses going. She's amazing. And then my buddy Lenny. Anyway, lots of young entrepreneurs. We're trying to show these kids a different way of doing it. And if you look at it, we're a counterculture.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So it sounds like you got a lot of new adventures, a lot of, road that you're going to cover this year, because, there's the June conference and then there's an October conference in Sacramento, which I don't want to say that it mirrors. I think there's a theme, but I don't want to say that it mirrors because, John Vroman was at both conferences. And the Sacramento one, I got to say, the Sacramento one was amazing. Like what took place at that dinner where you had everybody come together and says, I'll throw in a coaching package. I'll throw in like John's excitement was just enough for me, But like seeing all of these amazing people throw in coaching packages and then giving coaching packages to Gonzalo Corzo, which is Diego's brother, and seeing the selflessness that everybody brings to the table was just pulling on the heartstrings. You know what I mean? So, June and October, man, amazing conferences.
Yeah, it made me feel really good. I think part of our mission, one piece is to help people get the great feeling of having a purpose and a plan and a direction in their life. The other piece is to get people who are on their way and well on their way, get that wonderful feeling of giving back. And, you said it right before we got on this, Sean, when you said, and this person from another country told me I had an effect on their life, and it just felt so great. That wonderful feeling of knowing you're making a difference in somebody else's life. What a wonderful feeling that, unfortunately, some people just never get that because they're kind of in their own head. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you had to go back, do you think you'd change anything, or are you pretty happy with some of the ways that things have turned out? Why do you laugh?
The only thing that I would change is I wouldn't smoke cigarettes. When I was 14 years old, I started smoking, and it took me till 35 to quit. That's my only regret.
Perfect. That sounds about great. So, again, we're closing in.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah, it looks like we had some technical difficulties there. Yeah, it looks like we had a little bit of technical difficulty there, but we're back.
Sorry about that. My phone just died.
Yeah, no problem.
Wait. That's what you get for living in the mountains.
No problem. So, I was going to ask you, what was the best resource that you found during your journey? Maybe let's go with no one's help. With no one's help, was there something that you found that helped you through your journey?
Yeah. I mean, I just don't want this to sound corny, but I just got to go with what it is, and that's getting out. And I don't mean I could think of books, I can think of people, I can think of tapes, but I can't think of any resource that's added more exponentially than getting out in the boonies and climbing mountains. Get to know who I am, to get to make me want to like to be so happy that I'm out there that I want to get back and focus and be on point and go boom, boom, boom and knock stuff out so I can get back out there. So yeah,
absolutely.
That's my answer.
Well said.
Yeah. Thanks.
So let's use somebody. And who gave you the best resource during your journey, and what was it?
I would say Kiyosaki and his 2 books. If I had to pick one thing, I would say Kiyosaki and the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and his game Cash Flow. Those were game changers.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that he actually has a board game. A lot of people don't know that.
By that game, just when I talk about that, I want to talk about how big that was. When I was achieving financial freedom, when I was going towards getting out of the rat race, and that's the whole thing of the game, is having your your passive income. That means income from not working be larger than what your expenses are. Okay, so
right.
That means from rental sources, from notes and stuff like that. And the only way you get to that place is earn more than what you make and invest wisely. But in that game, when you get to that place where your passive income is more than what your expenses are, you get to turn your game board over and do whatever you want to do, and think of that. So, and it's doable, you guys. Don't let the world tell you can't do this.
Right, and like I said before, I found out, just learning from everybody that just because you make more money doesn't mean that you deserve or you should get, the bigger house or the nicer car or and living within your means, sometimes can be difficult. But once I started putting these principles to use, I was like, man, how much money do we spend? Like, oh my gosh, so we try to rein that in a lot. So definitely go buy the game. Everybody, go buy the game. So let's do a shameless plug since we're plugging things. Oh, absolutely it is. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah, absolutely it is. So let's do since we're talking about that, let's plug. You plug whatever you want, a friend, a quote, say hi to somebody, your websites, Facebook, how to get in touch with you, plug whatever you want. Floor is yours.
I would like you to do three things if you're listening to this. We're how can I put it? Our community needs to grow. So go to the One Life community on Facebook. That's the number one Life, all one word, community on Facebook. Please go to our website, onelifefullylived.org, and sign up for the My One Life Roadmap. You'll see the roadmap course. Please sign up for the My One Life Roadmap. And then please join us in June and see Sean live, and join us in June 3rd and 4th in Philly for our One Life Fully Lived conference. And those are the three things I'd like to plug.
Awesome. Well said. So as we wrap up, deliver your best nugget of knowledge that will motivate, transcend, and inspire someone.
I would say that three things. One, find what you like in life and do it a lot. Two, it's not what you make, but what you do with what you make that makes a difference in the end. And that's as far as learning to invest wisely. And three, get the goods in the woods often.
Get out in nature.
That's it. Yeah.
Awesome. Very, very well said. So, you heard what he said. Get the goods in the woods. It's so catchy. Like, I love it. Like, get the goods in the woods. There's a thing about that, man.
Simple.
Like, go take a walk. Go take a walk in on a trail, or go hike somewhere, or just go enjoy nature. Like, get out of the house, man. Get out of the video games. Get out of the rat race. Get out of if you don't like your life, now's your chance. Do something about it. Get the goods in the woods. It gives you clarity. I think you get a lot of clarity out there by yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's nothing like having an elevated heart rate and, and ideas just flow. You better bring a freaking recorder.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have a lot of ideas.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, with that, this will conclude our episode with the magnificent Tim Rhode. Tim, you have been so amazing and transparent and authentic, and you have a community of people rallying around you and are at your disposal and are fully supporting what you are doing, my friend.
Well, Sean, I really appreciate your support for what we do, and you're well loved in our community, and I just keep up the good work. You're on a good path, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been an episode with Tim Rhode. If you want to know more about him, You can look it up in the Facebook group, One Life Fully Lived Community, and go to onelifefullylived.org. Everyone from Transformation Radio, this is your host, Sean Douglas, telling you always remember to live your brand. Have a good night.